Welcome to Tunnel Vision Athletics, where real athletes and coaches drop real game. If you're an up-and-coming athlete with dreams of playing at the next level, you're in the right place. We sit down with former coaches, teammates, and insiders who've been through it all, from college recruiting, scholarships, setbacks, and success. Our goal is to give you the tools, knowledge, and a mindset to take your game beyond high school. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you find it helpful. Let's get into it.
Today we have the privilege of speaking with Norene Iosia, one of the most decorated setters in high school and collegiate volleyball. Truly, on behalf of TVA and myself, I want to say thank you for taking the time to share your experiences over the course of your career and being able to help the up-and-coming athletes.
Of course, I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to get into it.
Most definitely. And you're definitely fortunate enough to be able to go and extend your career to play professionally overseas, where now residing as an assistant position at the University of Nevada. How's that been?
I mean, it's been a full circle moment. I mean, volleyball has been a part of my life since forever, since I was born. So to be able to give back at one of the highest levels in college is a great feeling, and molding these young adults and young women. So I mean, I'm still learning a lot, and I'm still new, and I'm still growing. So I mean, it's an experience to really enjoy the process of.
Yeah, most definitely. So the whole purpose of why I started, well, for the most part, I try to reach out to previous relationships and colleagues or teammates that I played with to share their experiences on over the course of their careers, but also like outside of Division 1 athletics, because Division 1, like you said, is going to be the top and the pinnacle as far as collegiate athletics. But that's such a small pool opportunity for a lot of these athletes, and not many athletes really understand that there's other opportunities out there outside of Division 1 athletics.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that Division 1 athletics is the gold standard and the model to replicate and be able to shoot for.
Mm-hmm.
But today we'll go ahead, learn a little bit about you as far as from high school all the way up to playing overseas, as well as the realities of recruitment, NILs, and the ever-evolving landscape of college volleyball. So whether you're an athlete or a parent, this conversation will definitely enlighten and shine light on key aspects that will help in the recruiting process. My research going into this interview, I gotta say, your resume is pretty impressive. And I gotta give you your flowers, and I don't think that they don't really understand the gems and the excellence that they're gonna be able to receive from your knowledge and your experience.
Thank
But
you.
taking it back to high school, you were named Daily Breeze Player of the Year 3 times. You earned All-State Division 1 Player Years honors in 2014 and 2015. You also led Redondo Union High School 4 league titles, and not only 1, but 2 back-to-back championships in 2014 and 2015. Followed with the Andy Collins Award in 2016, which is a prestigious award presented to the nation's best senior setters. And there's 2 key words in there that I really want to highlight, and it's the nation's best. That's not California. That's all 50 states. And that has nothing to be watered down. That's something as far as that I truly want to highlight and say that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you.
But look,
I'm like, it's been so long. I just haven't heard all of those awards and accolades. It's like you kind of forget what kind of goes on. Life goes by so fast, but wow. Yeah.
And it definitely does go by fast, but I think it's nothing short of phenomenal. And I don't think it's something that should be overlooked. I truly think, like they say, give you your flowers. And that is just the tip of the iceberg as far as what we're going to cover. So getting into high school and club, as far as the actual foundation of your process, looking back to your high school career, what were the key factors in your team's back-to-back state championships?
Well, our high school, we were led by our coach Tommy Chaffins, and he is the most positive influence slash teacher I've ever had in my life. And that's kind of his philosophy in teaching and coaching is all positivity, all speaking life, speaking encouragement into kids. And that's just something that I kind of wasn't used to. Or because high school, for volleyball, high school isn't as competitive as club volleyball. So when you go into high school, you're playing with a lot of different skill sets, and it's just not as serious in a way, like demanding than club is. So to play in that and then have a coach that is only, he's not focused on your technique, he's not focused on your stats, he's not focused on this, he's making sure that you're being a great teammate, that you're making a mistake, but guess what? It's okay. There's another ball. So kind of training that mental side for us was a huge part because our team was filled with competitive girls, and we all played club together as well. So that also contributed to our success because our connection was there, and we knew how to work well with each other. But I think the thing that really elevated us on being able to be state champions back to back was the way we treated each other on and off the court, and the way we respected one another, and just the influence that he had on us of making us better, not only better teammates, but better people, and being able to verbalize positivity and not just, and that went from body language to reactions after a loss or a mistake. And he was always correcting, like, hey, like, stand up tall, like, you guys are good. Or he would really just pin that down. Body language, attitude, and positivity. And when it's high school, it's when you get to that level of playoffs and it's high stress levels, but this guy, he's just cheerleader, cheerleader, cheerleader. So I mean, I think that's what we needed as a competitive group, and we learned a lot from that, and it showed kind of in our success.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something that you said was body language and attitude. I think it's an undervalued characteristic in
Mhm.
athletics uh, because there's two responses that give the type of player that you are.
Yeah.
So as far as when things don't go your way, or as you put it, you have a loss, um, when you go into those corrections and how you respond to it,
Yeah.
are you willing to sit there and say, okay, I see what you're saying, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
And what I see with a lot of athletes these days is that you don't get a whole bunch of open-minded, okay, I see that it's wrong, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
And it's more of they gotta see themselves right, where if they truly understand that 90% of the times that you fail, that's going to lead to your success.
Agree. Totally agree.
As far as your high school team, did you mention that most of you guys played on the same club?
Yes. So there was about at least four of us in the first year, and then kind of the year after in 2015, um, basically our whole senior class was on the same team. So it kind of just gravitated towards that. I mean, competitive follows competitive. You want to play at the most competitive clubs and compete with the most competitive girls, or the girls who will make you better, and that's what we did for each other. And lucky enough, we were able to do that in high school.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did so you kind of touched on it a little bit too, is how does club volleyball complement your development, and how should athletes balance high school, club, and personal training without burning themselves out?
Well, I feel like burnout will come no matter what, because when you're passionate about something, and I'm speaking to the athletes that are in it because they're passionate, not because they're forced to do it. That burnout will follow. I mean, volleyball, you're kind of playing year round, just like kind of any other sport. High school, and then boom, club starts right after. You get maybe a couple weeks off, but I think just how much you pour into it and how passionate and how dedicated you are, you're gonna reap the fruits of your labor. And that's something you just kind of have to get a mindset of is I'm not doing this for the now, I'm doing this for my future type of talk, if that makes sense.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think they undervalue your crowd. And like, I mean, I always heard it, show me your crowd, I'll show you your future. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to stay focused on what's going on or what the overall goal is when everyone that you hang out with has the same aspirations to reach the high levels, you
Mm.
know, versus when you hang out with a group that's always doing other things outside of your path on where you want to go, it makes it a little bit hard. It offers a lot more distractions for you.
Yeah, especially in high school.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of things going on that I just be hearing. I just be like, man, if y'all truly lock in and just get the right amount of people around you, y'all truly see success at a faster rate.
but I feel like that's just so normal because when you're a kid, you're growing up. Yeah, you have parents that are going to tell you like it is, but you don't truly understand what words they're speaking to you until you actually realize it or go through
Hmm.
it yourself. Like a parent can, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this to be successful, to do this and that, or you got to do this. But as a kid, you want to be with the distractions, you want to be with the trend, you want to be hanging out, kicking it, whatever, with your friends. So it really does take a lot for someone that young to kind of really understand what they do now can really benefit them in the long run.
Hmm. And that's also goes hand in hand as far as if you have a group that is just solely focused on uh, getting to the next level, that's all they talk about,
Yeah.
right? All the places that you go, they go. All the places where they're on the same timesheet, they're on the same schedule, so it kind of becomes normal for you to be able to get to where you want to go and excel versus those other athletes that fall into those distractions. Um, and you said that you want to strive to compete at a high level. Just being a competitor, it just comes natural. Um, how do you weigh the benefits of being on an elite roster versus consistent playing time on a lower tier team?
Well, initially, every athlete wants to be on that competitive team, on that top team, but you have to kind of be able to ask yourself, am I playing? Am I getting better? Because being on a bench on a top tier team isn't giving you looks. Like, yeah, they're probably looking and scouting like, okay, she's on this team, she's tall, but what can she do? That's the question. What can these kids do? So being on I would say a lower tier team, but you're getting playing time 24/7, I wouldn't knock that. I would say that's just as important than being on a reserve position on a top team, because again, coaches want to see action. Coaches want to see you playing. And I think a lot of time kids and parents can really get locked into it. My kid's on a one, my kid's on a one, or my kid's on a two, or are always just kind of projecting that and glor glorifying that part. But my kid's not playing, your kid's on the bench. What is that helping them with? Being a good
Hmm.
teammate, yeah. Standing on the sideline cheering, of course, that's all great aspects. But again, coaches want to see action. And the only way you can really learn about yourself and to become better is by doing the action and playing.
Yeah, most definitely. And if you're thinking about it on a different level, would you recommend or see the benefits in a person that's competing on that lower tier team and they're dominating to be able to go? I wouldn't say let's take the dominating factor out, but as far as there's definitely some key factors or characteristics that you can pick up on, like tools that you can pick up on being around an elite roster.
Agreed.
Like especially as far as receiving coaching, receiving the philosophy, their knowledge, their tactics on how they operate, and being able to take that and apply it to your lower tier team and to benefit your own process.
Agreed. I mean, playing on a top tier team kind of my whole life, I kind of see the, I wouldn't say trend, but the wave of my teammates around me, the ones that did not play, but again, they're good enough to be on our team, but they have to do again what's best for them. So it's really up to the family and the player. What do you prioritize? What do you prioritize being on one and not being able to play? Yes, you're getting better, but again, you can be paying all this money because club ball is not cheap to be on a bench. And again, you can still get that same training on a twos, but it's really just kind of how you look at it and what you want. But I wouldn't say I'm knocking either if you're playing on a lower team or ones, because coaches, if you are good enough and you are working hard enough and you're really standing out like you are projecting, coaches will find you. Coaches will find you.
Cool. How important is versatility? If an athlete isn't playing the preferred position, should they embrace the change or seek other options?
I'm all about being an all-around player. My coach, when I say my coach, I mean my dad. Growing up, dad, growing up, my dad would always tell us, like, you guys need to be a volleyball player, not just a position player. I'm not training you just to be one skilled. Like, if you're gonna play a sport, you have to know how to do all the things. And I think that's one mistake that I see kind of in volleyball programs now, that they kind of funnel kids to, okay, you're only going to be a libero or you're only going to be a middle blocker. So they only practice in skills. But it's like there's all these situations in volleyball that can go different, that maybe this middle blocker who's training to only hit balls and spike balls now has to dig a ball or now has to set. And you would want your kids, you would want your players to know how to perform those skills, because again, it's a sport, volleyball. It's not a position one skilled type of thing. And I think it's really important for kids to know that no matter what kind of sport you're playing, is to be an all-around player, because not only will that help you, but you see more playing time, you have more to offer. If there's one kid that can only pass and she's the best passer, speaking volleyball terms, if you're like the best passer, but you can't play defense, what good are you for me? Or you can't set a ball. Like, again, the more you know, and in life, the more you know, the more you can offer people, the more joy that you'll have, because again, you can help out in different areas. And I mean, I think that's the beauty of sports.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the biggest thing that I want athletes to try to take away from there, because you had somebody preaching to you to be versatile, to be a multi-position, to be a utility player that can play all positions, where a lot of parents and a lot of athletes get caught up in, no, this is my position, this is what I'm gonna play, this is what I'm gonna do. And when you start looking at it from a recruiting standpoint, there's so many factors that come into it that you may not meet the criteria to play that position.
Yeah.
And if you're so hard headed and stubborn not to embrace change or be versatile, you are going to pass up on a whole lot of opportunities and
Yeah.
that you could have taken advantage of.
Agreed. And for a word for all those kids out there that are playing now still, most of the time the position that you go into college with, they change it anyways. It's very normal. That's not something that never happens or that's just like scarce or whatever. Like that's a very normal thing. So again, the quicker you are to be able to adjust and to just be coachable, the better experience you will have. And again, that's just not having a fixed mindset, being open-minded and working hard. That's really it.
Yeah, most definitely. And how would you say, as far as like high school or club, prepares you for that?
Well, I'd say club. I mean, again, club for volleyball is the real deal. It's the most competitive. So club in terms of being versatile is a little rough. And that's when it kind of comes down to what you do on your own time. Again, how much work are you putting in? Because again, club is very business ran. So it's like you get 2 hours for maybe you get 6 hours maybe in 1 week time crunch, then the next team, then the next team. So it's kind of really like you have to coaches got to fit that skill set in within that time frame. So you don't have time to, oh, can I try this position now? Can I try this position out? Like, no, we're competing. You either have it and we're perfecting it or you kind of don't, because time just goes by so fast in that. And I mean, depending on the club you're at, but again, I just think it boils down to the work you're putting in to yourself, to making yourself what you want to be. Again, you want to be versatile, then you want to be a utility player, then you have to put in that work.
Yeah, and putting in that work, it definitely comes down to you sacrificing your own time. And I don't even like to say as far as sacrificing. You're like, what are you truly sacrificing if it's going to benefit you in the long run? If this is really what you want to do you really call it sacrificing? And because, like you said, it's a time crunch. So if you have to change positions, or if you desire to play a certain position, take your practice time and practice your reps, so that when you get into where the reps really matter, you're taking the quality reps and not treating it as practice.
That's funny you mentioned that, because um another moment with my dad, so there would be players that would ask him for private lessons like on the side. And I would say again, his private lessons, I know him, is the same thing as our practices, sometimes skill work. And I was always so curious, like, why would they want extra reps when that's what we do in practice? Like, why not just take it seriously in practice or focus on it harder in practice than having to do extra reps with my dad and pay him? Like, yeah, awesome, but also, are you actually, like you said, taking the initiative to be mindful of, all right, this is the drill, I'm locked in for this? Because then if you're locked in for that and you're going hard on it, then why you need extra reps? Not saying that's the scenario for everybody, but just also a trend that I see is the mindset in practice is not the same in individual work, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you see that, like, if you're gonna go pay for something, um, do your practice before then, so that when you get there, you treat the reps like it's competitive reps, and you're getting the quality coaching that's actually gonna help you elevate your game.
Yeah. And it's not the same thing that you're hearing in practice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
handle your business in practice,
Handle
bro.
your business. Handle your business. Moving into recruitment, and what a lot of athletes overlook I mean, you had an incredible career at Hawaii. What went into your decision-making process during recruitment, and what do you wish you had known back then?
Well, I was not a really great student in high school at all. I was terrible. I was terrible. So I always hated school. My parents sent me to a high school that was out of my norm and my normal. So my whole high school years, I really resented them for that, and it kind of reflected in my grades. And when it came to college, I was like, I want to get away from them. I want to be so far away from them that it's going to be hard for them to kind of come and see me. And I was really excited to be on my own. And so the recruiting process, I was looking at it from my own selfish reasons of, okay, what is the furthest school that is going to offer me? I'm taking it. Um and then that's a poor way of looking at it. So don't
Yeah.
and but that's why it's just so interesting to see, because I never had kind of any guidance from my parents. They didn't go to college. They not necessarily kind of knew the right questions to ask. They kind of just left it in my hands. And me, I'm at that time, I'm not curious about what this school is offering. What majors do they have, or what's their graduating like success rate, or like all these very important things that I had to learn kind of later on down the road. And I ended up choosing the University of Hawaii again because it was the furthest away from California. And luckily for me, like it panned out. I learned a lot, but also if I were to do it all over again, I would look back on, what institution is going to be a great launch pad for after sports, for after
Yeah, preparing yourself after there's so many other things that you weigh into that option that kids don't really necessarily are going to ask those
yeah.
questions. Um, if you don't mind me asking, how many offers did you have, or what offers did you have?
Um, I was offered by UCLA, again, a very top tier school, very prestigious. Again, I was not
Uh,
a great student, so that did intimidate me. And well, I'm Polynesian. On my recruiting visit, there was one Polynesian random student that was walking around that stopped me and was like, "Oh, do you go here? Blah blah blah. Like I've just never seen another Samoan or this." And right then and there, I'm like, yeah, CSUN and what was that? Long Beach State, kind of a lot of small schools.
do you feel that if you are not good in academics, that should frighten you in your recruiting process? Because as far as now looking back at it on how many resources that are available to student athletes, do you
Hmm.
feel that athletes should have that fear? Because we truly do have a lot, and more schools or other schools have more resources than others, but there are resources to help these athletes succeed in the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, transitioning from high school to college, education and your grades, I I wouldn't say that's something that kids should fear, but I think it's something that they should be more serious about if they're not already. And and just because you're good at a sport, you can be a top kid and your grades are not where they need to be. Um, it'll still be rough for you because again,
Mhm.
accepted into the school, and coaches do they want to deal with that? Because again, they look at your grades and they're like, all right, this kid is going to be academically challenging for us. She's going to need all this help. And then again, they kind of see, all right, this kid needs to be babysitted. Now we need to make sure they're going to study hall. And now we have to do all these extra checks, which again is extra work for coaches. So being able to really hone in on taking that seriously will also benefit you in the long run and should matter. Whether you're the best player in the world, you're top of your class, or you're not. Like, just get good grades.
Take take care of it in the
Just
classroom. You'd
do
be
it.
better off.
Yeah.
um, and I mean, moving into like more relevant issues. I mean, NILs is a big thing, and it has definitely shocked or shook college athletics. And it definitely has changed recruiting. How should high school athletes and parents evaluate a school's NIL opportunities, and what potential pitfalls?
Yeah, NIL is pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of kids are getting big chunks of money at a very young age. So, I mean, when we talk about pitfalls, I would just I would just kind of say to parents and the kids, like, again, what are you prioritizing in college for your kid? Again, is it about money? Again, NILs just came relevant, maybe what, 3, 4 years ago. But before that, it was all about school. It was
Mm-hmm.
about sports. And that's very what I'm accustomed to and what's a norm for me. So when we throw in more money, and now these kids have what, like thousands of dollars bonuses to attend a school, it just kind of changes the whole dynamic of what you're prioritizing, because now there's a lot of distractions that come from NILs. And again, that can be very detrimental to the team's overall.
Success.
Yeah.
But you put it a good way. Is where are your values at? Are you in it for the money? Are you in it for a good education? Are you in it for to compete? It's
Yeah.
where it really comes down to what is the morals and values in the athletes or the families' success. You know.
And then I think the only kind of pitfall, really, like, money will be there, money will be everywhere, jobs, but when it's NILs and you're that young, to be able to kind of understand how to deal with that, kind of what we talked about last time, is huge. So parents to be able to kind of navigate your child through that and making smart decisions and not just kind of blowing it, is also important for.
Yeah, I think it definitely could cloud your judgment because I mean it's free money. Free money don't
Yeah.
come often.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
uh, and when you start talking about the challenges, I mean that just piggybacks off of the transfer portal, right? So
Mhm.
the transfer portal is like a double-edged sword, depending on how you look at it. It definitely gives athletes more mobility and puts a little bit more power into the athlete themselves. But it definitely comes with challenges. What should recruits consider to avoid making a short-term decision that could impact them in their long-term success?
What do you want out of your 4 years of college? Again, adversity in life is very normal, and I think with the transfer portal, I mean, kids just have no loyalty to to a program that probably was their best choice in high school. And it's kind of like in high school, you're like, oh, I need to get somewhere. I need to get somewhere. And this school believes in you. These coaches believe in you and actually offered you to bring you into their team. And then you come, wasn't what you thought it was. But because that was the only school that kind of believed in you and you chose that now you want to reroute. So now there's no loyalty. Now there's no working through the adversity. It's kind of,
Yeah,
um,
and
it's too much for me. I'm gonna leave type of
not
attitude.
not willing to really weather the storm and see how much you can take to whether and there's many factors that come into whether or not an athlete chooses to transfer, right?
Yeah.
It could be playing time, it could be now NIL money, it can be financials, whatever the case may be. It's like you said, it affects a lot, and it definitely it plays a part in a program's success, right?
Mhm.
And it definitely affects as far as how you guys recruit. And has it put a little bit more strain to see, or like um, in your guys' recruiting process, to do a deeper dive in an athlete's characteristics, their character, how they
Mm.
hold themselves?
Yeah, I mean, for us, that's kind of one of the main things that we always look at, because again, we're like rebuilding this program. So who we bring in, we have to kind of make sure that we're getting kids that are able to weather the storm, like you said, to be coachable, to how are their personal skills and their people skills to be able to work with the other 15 girls that we bring in. And again, one kid can really bring a team down. And the transfer portal is just, I think it's just becoming a new norm for college coaches, and that's something kind of that is inevitable for you to kind of get a hold on. And now it's kind of looked at as that's kind of the place to be, is the transfer portal, because of how normal kids are dipping out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And I mean, like you said, is if you didn't have a whole bunch of interest in high school, you didn't have a whole bunch of college coaches knocking on your door for you to almost like bite the hand that feeds you. It,
Mhm.
it like what do you expect to get out of it? Especially if you didn't see any success at your current program,
Yeah.
you know. And I definitely think it's something that's gonna have to be continue. It's gonna be an evolving thing to map and navigate through. Um,
And that's also like adversity like that will always come in your life. So it's like what kind of habits are you practicing now? When something is tough, when something isn't your way, what now I leave? Like that's how the real world works. And kind of just being able to self reflect, am I doing all that I can do to make this work at this university? Am I putting enough work? Am I talking to coaches of what I'm lacking, or what can I do to get playing time? Like you have to ask yourself all these questions before kind of making that decision of, all right, I'm leaving. But because again, like 95% of the time when you go to a new university, it's gonna be sort of the same thing. Every
the
university
grass
has its
ain't always
cons,
greener. It's not.
right? Every university has its cons, every coaching staff has its cons. So it's again, it's going to be everywhere, but it's how you navigate that, how you carry yourself in that adversity is what's telling. And that's just something that kind of I would like to see a little bit more within um student athletes. And yeah, parents really telling their kids toughen it up, like
Weather it a little bit longer, you know.
yeah.
But I mean, you start to see a trend, right? Because it trickles down into youth sports. I mean, how many would you say as far as club team goes? I mean, do you see athletes play on one club one year and then switch it the next because of certain situations, right? Where they don't really
uh,
truly sit there and lock it down, lock in, and see all that you can absorb
yeah.
from that particular team.
Yeah. It You see it in high schools. Switching high schools and recruiting in high schools. I mean, it's wild. The sports world is wild.
So it definitely so when you actually like recruit that athlete, do you take into consideration as far as in your guys' process, do they list out like as far as club teams that they previously played on? And do you guys weigh it better if they have only like one or two club teams that they for sure stuck to?
I would say no, because again, that's a norm for sports. Like that's the culture kind of sports. And again, at that time, it's not so much the child. Again, a lot of things funnel from parents and influence from parents, and sometimes kids just gotta roll with it. And then that's when it kind of trickles down to them once they get to college and they get to make their own decisions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. I definitely see it that way too. Um, Moving into your college career, and like I said, nothing short of phenomenal. I gotta go into it. I gotta go over it and educate these up and coming athletes, so that they truly understand as far as the knowledge and gems that are be sharing. You had not only a high school, an exceptional high school career, but you let that transition into your collegiate career, where you were four-time All Big West first team member, AVCA All American Honorable Mention in 2019, but also was honored as the Big West Conference Player of the Year, and also in 2019, winning the only second setter in 21 years at the University of Hawai'i to do so. And nothing short of phenomenal. And I think, like as a culture, as a player, individual, I don't think that we truly honor ourselves enough and understand it's not uh, uh, something that's done often. I mean, 21 years, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely impressive. And I got to give your flowers out there. But
Thank you. Thank you.
following that, man, looking at your stats, ranked prominently in the program's record books. Second in aces at 139, eighth in digs at 1,175, ninth in assists at 3,148. Phenomenal. That's
Yeah.
definitely phenomenal, man. So getting into it, as said, you were four-time All Big West selection, Player of the Year. What mindset and habits helped you maintain that level of excellence?
I would say my competitiveness. I mean, I started playing when I was 6. All my siblings, all my cousins played. So, I mean, competing in the backyard, playing outside as kids was very normal for us. So, I really think it was just that. Again, speaking on needing extra reps and that practice was like game day. Practice was like game day. Every drill, I want to win. Every except for the miles. Every I'm like, whoa,
Hey.
that just triggered me. Every drill that wasn't conditioning, I want to win. And I mean, I think that just again just came from my family, like all my family in whatever sports, football, rugby, we're just competitive people. And so I think that really translated in my college play, because again, coming in as a freshman and having the experience and success that I did have in high school, now it's kind of time to put it to the test. Like, all right, where do I feel like I truly stand? And again, I had to compete against a senior setter. And again, you can either shy away from competing against people or not. And that definitely was my nature. I am a competitor. And I think that's just what set me apart from other athletes, whatever it is, no matter how small it is. Again, people can overlook practice, people can overlook weights or anything. So it's kind of like wherever there was competition, my mindset was I'm winning. And
Most definitely. And so competing just came natural. It was
yeah.
just something that was embedded in you, right?
Mhm.
What advice would you give to freshmen adjusting to the speed and intensity of college athletics?
I'd say your guys' practices and your matches are always filmed. So the more film you watch, I really think that's also overlooked aspect of the game is film. And again, the more film you watch, the better you're able to kind of read the game and get a feel for a game. And when you're actually playing in practice or in matches, you recognize, oh, I've seen this before. I know that this is going to happen. And it's kind of just being a little bit ahead of the game, because yes, it's a different speed, and it's a faster game, and it's more stronger game. So the the better preparation that you have for it, again, will contribute to your success in matches.
Ooh. And you kind of touched on it earlier. Academics and athletics, they go hand in hand, but often conflict. What
Mhm.
strategies helped you manage both?
I would say, again, prioritizing my time. Yes, you want to find a balance in having a social life, being able to recover, and then also doing your academics, and being able to kind of balance all of that. Again, being real with myself, and what can I achieve, and setting tangible goals of, all right, I'm setting this time aside for my academics. And again, days are going to waver on your energy, on how much you can put in. But again, the reality of kind of like what you said earlier is, you got to do it. And again, it doesn't stop. So being able to be real with myself, like, okay, I have 30 minutes. I can do 30 minutes of full focused, locked in 30 minutes on this day. Sometimes it can be an hour, or also 2 hours. If you're feeling good, you had a great day, workout, got some great food, and you can last longer. So just kind of being able to be mindful in how you're scheduling out your days beforehand, and not kind of just going with the flow of things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would
And
say that prioritizing what your needs are.
most definitely. And it comes, and there's a lot of things. That's why I love sports, right? Because it comes down to accountability and discipline. Because just as how your greatness is solely depending on how much you're willing to work, it's in your hands. And you have to truly know yourself and the characteristics that you build within a training session, within the weight room, within sports. Generally, you build them and you take them and you apply them into your personal life, right? Whether it's at home, whether it's in the classroom, outside the classroom, is because even though that you don't feel like doing it, you know that it has to be done in
Yeah.
order to see the success that you want to see.
Yeah.
Um, so you can't just sit here and talk about, yeah, I want to do these great things on the court. I want to do these great things on the field. I want to do the great things on whatever it is that you're competing in without putting the work in. And it's the same thing that goes into your academics is that if you don't make grades, you don't do what you need to do, then all that other stuff is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be accountable and have the self-discipline to be able to take care of your business even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, that's very well said. Because I mean, again, freshman year, that's kind of hard to navigate. You have so much freedom, and very independent. So then again, that's you being able to realize, all right, what are my priorities? Again, and it's fine to have the social life. It's fine to do all those things that you're curious about, but again, being able to be disciplined in those aspects is very important. So
Yeah. And I mean, I wish we could spend more time on the collegiate side, but I want to continue to push on. As far as your professional career goes, you had the opportunity to play in Greece, Hungary, and Switzerland. What was the biggest adjustment going from NCAA to international play?
it was the coaching. It was kind of everything. Sometimes my coach in Greece did not speak any lick of English. Communication is rough, and they say, yeah, you have a translator. Translator are your teammates, but again, they're it's not a word for word thing. It's kind of a translation of, oh, he's just kind of saying like this, like a very way. Like, bro just said 50 words. He tells me all so and that happened everywhere. I mean, even in Hungary, my coach was Serbian. He only spoke Serbian, like his English was very little. And I had teammates that didn't speak English. So really that part of the communication factor, the volleyball part was pretty much the same sport. Volleyball's volleyball, but it was kind of the outside factors of kind of being in a whole different country and learning their culture and their style and what
Mm-hmm.
for them. Again, it was awesome to learn. But yeah, 9 months. 9 months is hard, and you got to be able to be mentally tough to weather through that. And
Being away and adjusting, yeah,
yeah.
definitely takes a lot. But for athletes interested in playing professionally, what should they know about contracts, agent representation, cultural differences? I mean, you touched on it just a minute ago, right?
I mean, okay, so for agents, I would say, you have to be able to be your best advocate. No one's gonna fight harder for you than yourself, and that's how it should be. If you're looking to play professionally, you have to be able to also sell yourself. Because again, agents, there's a lot of agents out there that, again, it's a business working for money, but you have to be able to decipher what agency and which agent do I feel is gonna be the right fit for me to vouch for me. Because again, I can have an agency that works in a pool of like 300 athletes compared to an agency that's working with only 50. How much exposure or how much focus do you think that the pool of 300 is really focused on for you? And again, maybe that agency is the most glamorous, the most active on social media, has the best graphics compared to the one with the 50. So again, kind of just overlooking the social media part, but really getting to know the agent and how well they're gonna fight for you and vouch for you. And I would say for contracts, don't be afraid to speak what you need and what you are worth. And again, the only thing that can happen is they say no, but at least you're speaking on it. And I think that gets very intimidating for people to ask, but it's fair, it's valid. You put in the work. Again, we can say sacrifice, or we can also just say you grind. You grind that hard to be what you're worth, and this is what you feel. So being able to really speak up on what you're worth is very important, and what you need, demand needs. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I think they can say is no. So I would say on that for contracts and being able to read, I know nobody likes to do that, but read every single word on that thing, ask questions, make highlights, and it's your life. This is your life. So don't play about it. Be able to really take the time to lock in and really see what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like you said, is and that's just outside of professional contract, right? Um, be able to advocate for yourself, right?
Mhm.
Uh, because there is no loss in it, right? You speak what needs to be addressed, and even if you said no, you're just back in the same position that if you didn't ask.
Yeah.
So there's no real reason on why you shouldn't advocate for yourself, because at least you prove to yourself that you can do it, you can speak up, and you can stand on your own 2 feet and be able to address what needs to be addressed.
Yeah, for sure. Have to.
Many athletes don't plan beyond volleyball. How would you say they should prepare for the life after playing, whether in coaching, business, or another field?
I'd say kind of like what you just said, plan. A lot of people don't plan. That's the issue. We got to be able to plan, and you have to ask yourself those real questions and be able to self-reflect on, okay, what am I passionate about? What are my strengths? What are my strengths that can contribute to my passion? What are my weaknesses that might hinder what I'm working towards in my passion? Or how am I able to gain that? And having those questions with you kind of early on to then generate a plan, because again, things don't happen overnight. So being able to again self-reflect and give yourself some grace, because things take time. And I think I think that's kind of the main thing, being upfront and ahead and proactive with the plan and your future, versus again just going with the flow. And again, a lot of things that are unexpected happen. Like you can get injured at any point. Boom, career done. Oh, now I'll start thinking. But again, thoughts are just thoughts. They're not put into action at that very second. So being able to again plan and just have conversations and to simply just think is I would say my advice on that.
Yeah, for sure. And it plays definitely in a crucial role, especially it's inevitable. You know, athletics are going to come to an end. No
Yeah.
matter whether it's high school, college, or pro, right? Okay. You only last so long at the professional level, right? You've been doing it so long, your body can only endure for so much time. So it's
Yeah.
inevitable, and you have to be able to set yourself up for success, right? I treat it like I mostly tell people sports is just a vehicle. It opens up a
Yeah.
lot of doors, it gets you to a lot of places, but it's not your end all be all, right? From a coaching standpoint, what separates good athletes from those who truly thrive at the collegiate level?
I would say again their discipline and their dedication. Again, with all the things that the athletes overlook, the film time, the recovery time, the meetings with coaches. I know kids don't like that stuff, but again, to be able to grow and to get better, you have to be able to get feedback and to respond to feedback. And all feedback, in my opinion, is good feedback, because you're always learning. You're always learning.
Mm-hmm.
And
Whether it's good feedback or bad feedback, right?
yeah. And that's always the thing. A lot of kids are always want to play victim when coaches have something to say, or when there's feedback, they want to curl up and be like, "No, you're mean and you're this." Like, no, you're an athlete and this is our job. I'm doing my
Uh-huh.
job.
And
Again,
it goes back to what we addressed earlier, right? There's two responses on how you respond to criticism, right? You can
yeah.
be the one to sit there and argue and state that you're right, but at the end of the day, if your coach is pointing out an error, it's an error,
Yeah.
right? You can sit there and throw your excuses, and nothing gets done, nothing gets fixed. Ultimately, that's just going to lead to you being on the bench.
Ultimately, yeah, just stop your hand. Okay.
So there's two ways to go about it. You're in the middle of a practice or in the middle of the game. Sit there and say, okay, how do I fix it? How do I address it? How do we go about it so that if I still have a question about it, or whether or not I was right, have it after the fact. But in
Yeah.
that moment, just understanding, as far as there's a place and time, just understand you just want to be able to have the right body language, right attitude, right
Yeah.
approach to criticism, whether it's good or bad.
And I think those who do thrive at the collegiate level, those are the ones that build the relationships with the coaching staff. And again, to have that perspective of, okay, they're here to help me. They're a tool for me to be better. And looking at it that way, instead of, okay, that's my boss, I have to just listen and I'm going to complain for doing, like, it's a whole mindset thing. But I think that separates a lot of the players that are excelling at the collegiate level versus the one that are just kind of there, being able to be coachable and use the tools that they're given to the fullest. And also I think the competitive nature of athletes. If you're competitive, no matter what sport you're in, you're thriving, because sometimes you can't teach competitiveness. You can't teach that feeling of grit, of wanting to work towards this goal. Some kids just have that in them, that they're so competitive, they will do anything to better themselves for the team, for the win, for the
Mhm.
success. And I think that's also something that makes kids very special, because again, it's hard to teach competitiveness.
And I think that comes back to who you hang around with.
Yeah.
If you want to be a dog, you can't hang around with the sheeps. You know,
Yeah.
you want to be a dog, you have to put yourself in the room with dogs, even if they're smarter than you, even if they're bigger than you, even if they're stronger
Right.
than you. You have to put yourself in that environment, because how are you going to learn how to be a dog from a sheep?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So the more that you put yourself against the wall, against adversity, like I said, you'll see success happen at a much faster rate. Getting into like parents, they definitely play a major role in the recruiting process. What's the best way for them to support their athlete without overstepping? Because you see it a lot. You see it a lot, and it comes back to whether or not the athlete wants it or the parent wants it, and it can't be the parent that wants it more than the athlete.
Yeah, no. Um, exactly that. Parents be parents, just parents. That is it. You don't need to be your son's spokesperson. You don't need to be your son's agent. You don't need to be your son's this is that. You just have to be a parent. You just have to support. You have to encourage. And I think that that's kind of it. You see a lot of times, sometimes parents going up and initiating conversations, and yeah, I know they think they're in the betterment for their child, but again, we're not recruiting parents. We're not going to be coaching you. We're coaching your kid, and college coaches want to see how well the athlete, the child can maneuver through that and speak for themselves, and what are they like, how do they hold themselves, and yeah, when we talk about overstepping, it's kind of just that, like allowing your child to grow and to have adult conversations and to get out of their comfort zone. And I think that's what parents are there for, to kind of push them in that sense, and not so much coddle them and pat them on the back and hey, everything's okay. Like, no, give them a dose of the real world. The real world is cruel. It's judgy, and you got to be able to speak for yourself and to kind of, in a way, hold your own and be able to be a reflection of what you want.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to come, right, and you rather it come from the comfort of their own household rather than them see it for the first time stepping onto a college campus.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
you got to be able to have some type of grit to you. You have to have some type of thick skin and be able to handle your own issues.
Yeah.
Um, so that's definitely a big thing, is being able to endure things, right? And it comes back to weathering the storm. You gotta have some type of roots of foundation to be able to go through certain things, especially when you get to the college level.
And when you're talking about parenting, I mean, you have more experience than your child. That's just a fact. Parents have more experience than their child in the real world, of course. So then it's, how am I preparing my child for that?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll reflect. Again, parents, I'm not a parent yet. I mean, you can speak on that, but you want the best for your kid. You want to protect your kid at all costs. You want all things positive and good. But then again, you have to give them that dose of reality of, all right, being supportive, but also assertive. And again, teaching your kid to kind of get out their comfort zone to be their own person and not so much reliant on mom and dad.
And most definitely, and I don't think that's a fair statement to say as far as you're not a parent. Because as far as a coaching position,
True.
it truly is a parent role, right? Because as far as when I work with an athlete, I coach them in a sense as far as to teach them morals and values that can carry them a lot further and see success. And just as much as they want change, I want to see that change happen, right? Similar as in a parent standpoint, I want to see my kids succeed. I want to see them do great things. Okay, just as you want them to have those great things, I would love to see that, right? Just from a coaching standpoint. And I think that's where some parents should understand is that from a coaching standpoint, they're not the enemy. They're, like you said, a tool. They're a tool to help you and scope your athlete into the best possible, outside of athletics, the best human individual possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree.
And getting to like the bigger picture when you talk about college, right? Okay, everybody has a budget. It comes down to financials, and when you look at scholarships, it can sometimes be misleading. What do athletes and families need to understand about full versus partial scholarships, academic aid, and unexpected financial changes?
Again, it's all very dependent on your coach and the player. It's volleyball. What I've just learned is volleyball has different scholarships than kind of other sports. Like other sports in colleges all have different ways of working scholarships. And with the whole scholarship thing, your child can either get offered all 4 years, a full, or they can get a partial where it's kind of like they are getting maybe just books, or maybe they're getting their housing paid for, or maybe both, or maybe half of what a full covers. And not saying one thing that I do want parents to know is depending on how hard your kid works, what they have, partial or even just a walk on, you are able to still earn a full or earn some type of money that will benefit your child. So,
and that's through their consistent work and them excelling, right?
exactly. Yeah. And it happens way more often than people think. It's not as kind of advertised, but again, what you put in coaches reward. And that's just what it is. And there's also a lot of academic aid, FAFSA, cost of attendance. There's a lot of help out there that kids can apply for that do help.
Yeah, and but like for those things, it's a lot of knowledge. That's why I said knowledge is power. Knowledge is king. Not knowledge is however you want to look at it. Knowledge is going to be more valuable than cash. It
Yeah.
can get you way more because cash is going to come and go. The knowledge on how to get the cash is
Yeah.
going to stay with you, right?
Totally.
So as far as like scholarships go, there's so many scholarships and opportunities out there, right? You can get a scholarship for being coming from a Polynesian ancestry. You can get a scholarship from Latin ancestry, right? There's so many scholarships out there. All you got to do is get access to information, and the access is not hard, right? Everybody got it. The access is right there. Everybody's got one. Okay, you got to be able to sit there and it's just having, if it's something that you truly want to do, make the time for it, right? And I have that issue with athletes that I coach nowadays, right? I tell them, you will not be unsuccessful because of the information that you did not know. I make the information. I guide you. I point you in the right direction. Just imagine doing a research project, right? And you got to go do all the research by yourself, right? Would you rather do it like that, or would you rather receive a research project and I'd give you a list of 5 books to go read?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than you trying to sit there and figure out, okay, I got to check out this book, I got to check out this book, I got to check out this book, right? It's minimizing the where to look to put you, so to save you time, but also put you in the best position to be successful.
Exactly. And I want to add on to that. You can also, at any institution, get an academic scholarship. So maybe you didn't get one athletically, but you can get an academic one into the school and walk on to the program. And again, like you said, it's just what you know. There's many ways to get money for college, and just being able to ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
really.
And outside of athletics, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, academics is gonna open up way more doors,
Yeah.
offer way more opportunities for financially than your athletic ability will, right? Because as you said, right, scholarships vary depending on sport to sport. Okay, the only sport that gives you full ride, everything covered for, is gonna be football.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of football, it's going to come down to and many programs is they're going to rely more on their athletic aid, I mean their academic aid rather than their athletic aid.
Yeah.
So like as far as getting athletes to commit to schools, it's going to be heavily reliant on your academic excellence, right?
Yeah.
And when you guys do the recruiting process, what does that look like for evaluating an athlete? Do you guys start at athletically or you start academically?
I know the Ivy Leagues, one of my friends is coaching at Harvard. When they're out recruiting, they're actually looking at GPAs
Mm-hmm.
on the recruiting tournaments. So again, other people are going, we're looking for height, we're looking for this positions. These coaches are looking for GPAs. They can't look at these kids if it's not above a certain GPA, and then now that kind of is limiting their pool. And also kind of like an institution like BYU, where one in NSA is a Mormon school. And so then their pool are they
Even
at,
smaller.
yeah, even smaller. So again, dependent on the institution, and yeah.
So depending on the institution and the current situation, right? So as far as you guys being in rebuilding stages, is that you guys kind of are lowering, not necessarily don't not lowering the GPA requirement itself, but you guys are heavily reliant. You guys have boosted as far as in search of athletic ability, and then let's see where your academics are.
Correct. Yeah, we
Be-
prioritize the athletic ability first, as of now, and then your academic. And again, our university in itself is, I wouldn't say a hard one to get into, but it is a very academic based praised school, and it's very known for like computer and sciences and mechanics. So I mean, to even get accepted into the university is also what we look at, because that GPA has to be able to get accepted into the university to even be able to be on the team.
Moving on into other overlooked things, something that's not necessarily, I think it's become much more something spoken about and more common is mental health, right?
Mhm.
So I feel that it is still sometimes overlooked and not really weighed in on how much strain, because at a high school level or when you're in high school, right, you feel that like your life is hectic, you feel like everything's moving, but when you actually move away and you're on your own and you're truly on your own, right,
Yeah.
it's you don't really necessarily know how to uh, itemize or prioritize certain things What strategies help you stay mentally strong, and what resources should athletes look for in a program?
I was fortunate enough to be surrounded with great people, and again, it's kind of what goes back to what you said, who you surround yourself with. I mean, you got to be able to surround yourself with people who are able to pick you up and kind of steer you back on track when stuff gets hard. And that can be coaches, that can be trainers, that can be academic advisors, or just friends in general. So being able to again be be aware of who you surround yourself with. And for me, I'm a religious, I'm a Christian, and so being able to kind of cling to my faith when again I'm away from home, and that's my own practices, and kind of being able to lean on the foundation that my parents have kind of laid for me, um was put to the test, but also I've seen was a tool and an outlet for me that always brought me comfort through any of that. And then lastly was the mental services that were provided. Luckily enough, I was able to play for a coaching staff that, again, like you said, you coach because you want to instill values. You want to make them not only a better person but better people, a better individual. And for me, they wanted to make us better women, better friends, better sisters, better all of that. And they cared very deeply for not just me but for all my teammates. So I was able to have that connection with my coaches, with my trainers, of, if I was going through a tough time or I needed some sort of wisdom or guidance or advice that maybe wasn't from my parents, because maybe I didn't want to worry them, or maybe I wanted to prove to them that I can handle it myself. That I had adults around me that were, again, like parent figures, that I did appreciate their knowledge to be comfortable enough to take my problems to, my worries, my anxiety, all of that. And luckily enough for me, they were just that for me. They were a very great support group for me, and really played a huge part in making me who I am today. So I think that's also really important, kind of getting a feel for your coaching staff, because again, who more do you see than your coaches? And again, not like you need
Hmm.
to study, but at least find an adult figure that you can and you respect truly their wisdom and knowledge to help.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like you can't keep it all. You try to manage it all by yourself without having someone to talk to or having an outlet to release some of that stuff that's weighing you down. It affects you much more than you think, right? It's going to
Yeah.
affect you in your personal life. It's going to affect you in your athletic life.
Yeah, your
You
performance.
Yeah, overall performance is just gonna. You have to be able to clear your head, and you have to be able to have resources and people to talk to.
Yeah, and that's all again in self-reflection. I think the more self-reflection people have, the better one this world could be. Again,
Hmm.
a lot of things just come from ego and stubborn and all that. Like if we just kind of put that in the back seat, and again, we just be able to be vulnerable and raw, like, hey, this is what it is. I want to help you. Let's get through this. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure. And then last topic before we get into closing, social media is a tool.
Mhm.
Um, it helps you build a brand, but it also can be one of those things that you have to tread cautiously, right? Um, so it has definitely become a big part in uh, athletes and athletic careers, but also within the recruiting process. Correct.
Yeah.
So how can high school players use social media to effectively or use social media effectively without making the mistakes that could hurt their future?
One, be mindful of what you're posting. And that seems very vague, but again, how you project yourself, and once you push that button to post, it's out there for the world to see. It's out there for the world to see. So really being mindful of that, because taking things down doesn't mean it erases from people's memory. Again, impressions are everything. So you can use it to your tool, obviously, to advocate for yourself, for your athletic abilities and your performances, but it's more off the screen or off the field things that coaches are looking at, and what are they liking, what are they reposting, and it can even get down to who are they following or what influences are in, like, it's very, very nitpicky in that sense. So just being confident in how you want to project yourself to the world. And again, if you're 50-50 with whether or not you're thinking to post this or that, then it's most likely
Don't post
it.
it.
and yeah, social media is so big, and again, we want to post for likes and viralness and a lot of that for kids, but again, really be mindful of how you are portraying yourself in all aspects
Mhm.
of social media.
For sure, because I mean, it puts a face to you, to people that don't necessarily know you,
Yeah. Impression.
portray you in the wrong light, right? It don't necessarily speak who you are. It don't necessarily tell your narrative on your characteristics, on what you bring to the table, right? Which is
Yeah.
a big part in your recruiting process, because if you are one of those players that I'm just going to post it, I'm just going to post it, I'm going to like this, I'm going to like this, I'm going to like this, without the conscious of knowing the recruiting process, it's going to hurt your opportunities, right? So you wouldn't even know, just because of your negligence, of how many opportunities you could have had, just because of the simple tap of your thumb, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So as far as from a coaching standpoint, like as far as recruiting goes, is that you don't want to be missing out on opportunities on something that's so simple, right? You're working your butt off. You're putting countless hours, countless sweat, for it to just go down the drain because of a post or a like, right? Or a
Yeah.
comment.
Oh, and those comments. And the truth of the matter is, the world is judgy. People are judgy, bosses are judgy. That's kind of their job. In order to bring someone into an institution, you kind of have to see how they carry themselves offline or online, how they carry themselves online, because again, they're a reflection of your program. So again, it's taking the chance. If you're one of those crazy, I don't know, careless, not crazy, I would say kind of careless social media presences, that again, at some point of your college life, you're going to be a role model to somebody, or even now you're already a role model. So again, you would kind of want to think about it like, am, am who I projecting on social media, would I want my future kids to look up to? Would my grandma approve? Would my parents be proud? Kind of things of that sort. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it's just one of those things that you're not, at a young age, you're not really thinking about. You're not planning for the next 5 years. You're not planning for the next 10 years. Um, but it's definitely, as far as in on competing athletically, it's definitely a reality, and you have to be able to manage it.
Yeah.
And like I said, you want to be mindful of the people that you hang out with. Don't be going out doing all these deviant things and someone whips out a camera, right? And
Yeah.
you're doing stuff that you're not supposed to, and say you are fortunate enough to be getting interest from universities or top universities. Man, it just
Yeah.
gets it gets them to get just wind, right? Because it can get, like you said, you can erase it, but it don't mean it's gone.
Yeah.
And if those universities pick up on it, man, your offers can disappear real quick,
Yeah.
right? Just as fast as they sitting there, oh yeah, we want you, we want you, we want you. It can be gone overnight.
Yep. Everything in life is a choice. Everything in life is a choice. And sometimes you gotta lay in the bed you made.
Talking advice, right? If you could give one piece of advice to young athletes navigating high school, navigating recruiting, and college volleyball, what would it be?
I would say, one, be your best advocate. Again, there's gonna be people, there's gonna be coaches, there're gonna be teammates that are always, not always, that might be bringing you down, things on social media, talk, that are kind of hindering your mental, but being able to know who you are and know how hard you work and being able to silence that and continue to push, like we said, kind of work through that adversity, because again, adversity can come in many ways, shapes, forms, but being able to, again, self-reflect and know who you are and stick to that.
Uh, Lastly, I mean, if you were talking to your younger self through all your experiences, and your career, your accolades, everything that you've been through, everything that you learned, what would you tell yourself?
One, continue to be yourself. I think falling into other people's comparison of things, comparisons of performances is something so toxic that is very hard for kids to kind of decipher nowadays. And just being able to be content with who you are and what you bring to the table. Um, is great, and you don't need anything more. You don't need any praise, no accolade, no pat on the back from anybody that can take that away from you. And also that you can do hard things. And again, whether that's practices or matches or decision making on what to do next, that you'll get through it, and you can do it.
For sure. Well, like I said earlier, amazing, amazing resume, amazing person. On behalf of TVA and myself, I truly want to say thank you for sharing your experiences, sharing your wisdom, and being able to help these up and coming athletes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I loved it. And I hope this helps. And yeah, I love what you guys are doing. You guys are killing it. And these kids are lucky to have you guys as a tool and resource. So keep it up.
Appreciate you tapping in with us. If you found value in this conversation, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with a teammate or athlete who needs to hear it. We're building a community focused on growth on and off the field. We've got more guests lined up, more knowledge coming your way. It doesn't stop here. Follow us on Instagram, tunnel.vision.athletics, for updates, behind the scenes clips, and more content to help you level up. Drop a comment if there's a topic you want us to break down or we did not cover in this clip. Keep working, stay hungry, and remember, your story's still being written. Catch you all in the next one.